Right, and now we're starting the game between Strifecro and AKAWonder. As you have heard, Strifecro might not be on top of his game because he was traveling all the day, but we'll see how he will prevail in this. Quite a good opening hand, I would say. I mean, he has a wild growth, so that's more than needed to get things started for the Druid, especially in this matchup. I mean, it's against the Warrior, so maybe an Innervate would have been better, but I still feel like you need to keep the Wild Growth to have anything on turn 2. So let's see what will be next draw. He's actually playing the Jaded Druid, which is interesting. Some of the players are just turning away from it, and AKAWonder is playing the... Wait, is that Strifecro? Which one's Strifecro? Strifecro is playing Warrior, yes.
Yep.
So Strifecro is playing a typical aggro warrior, I'm guessing, for now. We don't see any kind of dragons yet, so that might be the version that is super aggressive, right?
Yeah, it looks like it is. With the Blood Cell Corsair, though, I think this might be the first pure aggro warrior that we've seen today. I believe every single one so far has had the dragon cards in. We also haven't seen that much Jade Druid. RDU, I think, was the first one we've seen, and now AKAWonder.
And RDU doesn't feel like it's a good deck. He just said that it fits his strategy.
Okay.
But that's about it. In this case, the Jade, I'm not sure exactly what is AKAWonder's strategy, but in general, I have the same perception that the Jade Druid isn't generally the best. But at the same time, I didn't have any particular builds that would be better in my mind.
Right.
Very interesting turn by Strifecro to choose the 1-drop instead of a 2-drop. But if the reason here is that you want to play the Bloodsail Cultist on turn 3, so your weapon gets buffed, then your Corsair also gets buffed.
Yeah.
Because it will get down to 2 mana, and that's actually huge when it comes to building up board presence against the warrior. Against the Druid.
The Druid, on the other hand, has actually picked up a method of dealing with Strifecro's boards. He picked up the Innovate into swipe there, which is great for now. But unfortunately, he hasn't actually... firstly, he hasn't applied any pressure to the board. And secondly, he hasn't taken the opportunity to ramp up. So while that was a nice short-term fix, he's going to need to find a way to actually get ahead on the board now. Strifecro is not going to make that easy for AKAWonder.
Definitely, and also another thing to consider is the fact that that Innervate swipe was actually 2 for 2. Patches was played for 0 mana investment, 0 card investment. So basically what he did, he killed a small time Buccaneer and a Nzoth First Mate, which kinda isn't a full card anyway, because it creates a weapon, right? So when you consider that, it's still a huge investment in that Innervate swipe. So there's time for Strifecro to still develop, and he got an upgrade. So now he can actually play the upgrade into the cultist, deal 3 damage this turn, and have 4 durability. That's 12 damage just from a single weapon.
Right, yeah, this really is a sheer aggro warrior, isn't it? And AKAWonder has Druid of the Claw now. He can play that this turn if he wants to. That is a means of defending 6 damage.
Oh, I was thinking maybe you should just charge.
Just to kill the 3/3, yeah.
Yeah, what if your opponent has a heroic strike, an example, right?
True.
Then you don't deal with any of those minions. Then you rely on the swipe and top deck Wrath or Living Ruins, an example, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, just charge into the minion, get the guaranteed trade, and your opponent most likely doesn't play anything that deals 1 damage apart from patches and weapons.
Sure.
Right? So you still get the trade with the minion because he will have to use the weapon to kill it. But it turns out the same way for him in this case.
Yeah, it turned out just fine, but the problem is there's still a huge board there, and AKAWonder can go ahead and play Jade Behemoth now. Which is another taunt, it's a 3/6, but looking at what Strifecro has here, even just something like Leroy Jenkins on its own could topple the taunt minion and then allow these minions to continue to smack the face. So AKAWonder is running out of health, and very, very quickly.
Wow, it's very risky to say the least to play the Behemoth right now. I was kind of leaning towards just killing away whatever's on board, and that could have been made by swiping and Feral Raging. The problem is that Feral Rage will then lose its value when it comes to healing.
Yeah, I feel as though AKAWonder definitely needs the armor out of that, but he needs to get himself into a position where he can afford to play it for armor. I suppose another option that turn would have been coin Ancient of War, but sticking to the curve works so well here, because Ancient of War can come down next turn.
That's true. That's true. Let's see what will happen now, because it feels like you can go two ways. You just attack with the cultist and the weapon into the behemoth. Your cultist is still alive. Then it will probably get traded by the 1/1 Jade Golem, but you still deal 5 damage to the face. You can also just ram in the Leroy Jenkins right now.
Yeah.
Deal 6 damage to the face and spawn 2 minions. Sure, Leroy Jenkins will die to that, most likely. If your opponent has a second swipe, that's kind of sad, because then you lose your entire board and your opponent still has minions. But at the same time, your opponent needs to put another taunt, right? Or just heal himself. And you still have access to Mortal Strike, Heroic Strike, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I really like this Leroy Jenkins. The fact that he can develop 11 damage to the face. Mortal Strike on its own is lethal if AKAWonder doesn't armor up. And we've got 2 Arcanite Reapers in hand, so...
Oh, that's a perfect draw. Both attoned now for 5 mana, then coin out Feral Rage for heal is actually a gift from heavens right now.
Yeah, that's a good draw. The fact that the 3/1/1s that he's got will clean up the Blood Cell Raider? It's that one, isn't it? Blood Cell Raider.
Yes.
So easily. Leaving just the 3/4 minion on the board. Obviously, AKAWonder's not out of the woods just yet. There are still 2 Arcanite Reapers in Strifecro's hand, and eventually, over 4 turns, these things are bound to kill AKAWonder, or at least deal some serious damage. So he is going to have to rely on these Ancient of Wars, Druid of the Claws, to sit there and not die.
Wow, he goes for the swipe.
Okay, so it does let him clear the board and also armor up still. It just means that he will take 5 damage this turn.
Okay, I don't know if I like this, to be honest. He kept the coin again.
What's he? I don't know what he's saving it for, really.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I guess Jade Spirit, Druid of the Claw next turn, but it doesn't really get him anything. It's no better than just Druid of the Claw armor up.
Yeah. No reason to hold on that Arcanite Reaper. The game will not last more than 4 rounds anyway. 4 turns, sorry. 4 turns anyway, so you need to get that damage in as soon as possible before your opponent has another taunt in the way.
Right.
So I'm not surprised by that fact.
We may have coin armor up here even.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look nice, but it might be necessary.
Well, I think it's happening. There you go.
I wonder if there's ever any consideration in trading here and killing the small time bucket.
Well, if he would have killed that, he gets himself to 5 HP.
Yeah, which means
he can die to double Mortal Strike, which can be the case because his opponent kept that that card in his hand for a really long time.
Right.
This is actually one off to kill the Ancient of War. Wow, that's unlucky.
Yeah, that isn't quite going to work out for Strifecro, and this is the thing that can happen to a Pirate Warrior. You can get so close and then just not quite find a way of dealing this last little bit of damage or getting past this last taunt minion.
Yep. So he's attacking with the first Arcanite Reaper, then playing the second one, buffing the second one, which leaves the Ancient of War on 2 HP, not on 1. Will that make a difference? That's the question.
How many cards does Strifecro have that will deal 1 damage? So there's N'Zoth's First Mate, but that's irrelevant anyway because we've already got a weapon on the board. A Blood Cell Raider that deals 2 damage.
Well, there's the Deckhand, which can attack into the Ancient of War and then kill it, right?
Right. Yeah.
But then you would like to trade with the Small Time Buccaneer right now. Interesting. Raven Idol might be another heal.
Yeah, it's a fantastic pickup for AKAWonder. I think he probably goes ahead and plays that straight away. Something like a Healing Touch or a Moonglade Portal or another Feral Rage. There are a lot of good options that he can get.
Or even another Taunter, like, Mark of the Wild, in example.
Right, yeah. Or even Mark of Nature. Like, there are so many options. And he can still play Raven Idol and then still play the Druid of the Claw afterwards and put up the second taunt. If he even feels the need to play the second taunt, it feels much safer to do that, but...
is there any chance that he will die actually next turn? Not really.
Even with the taunts?
I mean, even if you don't play the Raven Idol, I feel like you can just develop the Jade Spirit instead.
Okay.
I was even thinking about charging the Druid of the Claw and just kill everything,
That's true. 1 card is not going to be dealing 8 damage to AKAWonder's face.
Yep. That leaves Strifecro on 12 attack. There's a Corcoran Elite. A little bit too late to the party. It's already full, so...
And the maths doesn't quite add up. So say Arcanite Reaper kills Druid of the Claw, Corcoran Elite deals 4 damage to it, then something else deals 3 damage to it. It's really awkward.
So look at that. If Strifecro would have actually buffed the
You're right, yeah.
the weapon, the first Arcanite Reaper,
Yeah.
that what's his name? The Ancient of War would have been out of 4 HP,
Yeah.
and that means it would have been traded with the Corcoran Elite, right?
Yeah, which would have meant that AKAWonder had like only 1 or 2 less health. I believe it still would not have been lethal. And AKAWonder still has this Raven Idol with a lot of decent options here. Let's see what he gets.
There's a Moonblade Portal. What? By the way, that's lethal, right?
Oh,
With
right.
the Sapphire.
So
you don't
after
need
all of
Moonblade
that,
Portal.
the heal wasn't even the best choice.
You just get damage to deal 5, 7, 9, 10,
Just checking
11,
and
right?
double
You
checking.
double check that,
Yeah.
definitely double check. You don't want to embarrass yourself losing like that, right?
Okay, well, AKAWonder's Jade Druid gonna take the first game versus Strifecro.
Tight game though, really tight. Like,
Yeah, oh wow, that was so close. The fact that AKAWonder only has 4 health left right now, and it's been like down to 4 and then back up to 12 and then back down to 4 again. Really close.
I think the reason why it was so close, it's because the one turn when he used that AKAWonder didn't play Druid of the Claw while coining out the Pharaoh Rage, did cost him more health in the process.
Okay.
Because he didn't put out the counter like back then, that would have soaked up the minions that traded later, right? So because they attacked and
Yeah.
trade.
You also liked a little bit more of an aggressive approach to the game as well. You said that you liked charging the Druid of the Claws.
Yeah, because obviously the Dragon Warrior, the Pirate Warrior doesn't have an easy way to deal 1 damage to minions.
Right.
So you guarantee yourself a trade, and you practically guarantee that your opponent still has to trade with the minion if he has a weapon.
Yep.
It would work the other way around always, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you kinda put the minion out there with taunt to be dead to a heroic strike and a weapon strike.
Sure.
Which is one source of damage, which can be more beneficial to the Pirate Warrior than dividing, allies, creatures into the taunt.
Right. So AKAWonder starting straight away with the 1/1 Jade Golem. This was something that I think a lot of players were debating when the Jade cards first came out, but it was kind of decided that actually playing a 1-mana card that buffs every Jade Golem you get over the course of the game, probably pretty good. Pretty interesting that we've got a mirror match here.
Yeah, this is the first time we actually see the mirror
Yeah.
in general, like at all. So I think I actually never played the mirror match. Even when I was playing Jade Druid on on my stream, I never encountered another Jade Druid at the time.
Yeah, I've experimented with the deck as well, and I can't think that I've played the mirror. It turned out it's not the most popular deck that everyone thought it would be. The really funny thing is that neither player's doing anything at the moment. We've got a few.
No one did draw a Wild Growth or the Jade Blossom, which is super important in this matchup, of course.
Oh.
But both have innervates, and that means that AKAWonder can innervate and nourish. But now the question is, do you go for draw or do you go for ramp? And I think the answer is the draw.
He's going for draw. There are 2 schools of thought there. He could have gone with the ramp so that he could then play the second nourish next turn. But on the other hand, drawing is just fine because he's still got Jade Spirit to play next turn, which is going to give him a 2/2 Jade Golem.
Yep.
So drawing is absolutely fine, and then the turn after that he can play nourish or one of the 5 jobs he's just picked up.
It seems like after Strifecro, it's an innervate coin, Jade Behemoth, which puts out a 2/2 as well.
Okay, so Strifecro a little bit behind getting the nourish out after decides to take a more aggressive approach. I like that a lot because this Behemoth is really awkward now for AKAWonder's.
I mean, it fits perfectly against the Jade Spirit, right? It's a 3 HP
Well, exactly,
minion
exactly.
when the Behemoth has 3 attack, perfect trade.
And he may have made the read that there's a Jade Spirit there, or there's a 4-mana minion there, which is why he drew.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm going to counter that 4-mana minion.
Definitely.
Strong play.
And he has his own Jade Spirit as well for the turn 4. Of course, he has access to Fandral,
Yeah.
but Fandral, Innervate, Nourish seems like a powerful tool.
Right, so on turn 7, that could be devastating. Problem is, we're still a little while away from that happening, so whether Strifecro feels that he can hold on to both Fandral and Nourish for long enough. Either way, Jade Spirit looks like a fairly obvious play this turn.
That's for sure. Puts actually a huge body for 4 mana. It's
Yeah.
a free Okay,
I
so
spoke too soon. There's the Fandral.
he is going for the Nourish into Innervate Jade Spirits next turn.
Yeah, he's made the prediction that AKAWonder won't have a way of clearing this past the taunt, and from what we can see, it seems like that was a pretty good call. Feral Rage would be able to do it if there was no taunt there, but
Well,
there's nothing.
You would need Swipe and a Living Roots
Yeah.
to deal with that in this example, because most of the Jade Druids are not playing Mulch,
Yeah,
so you have no direct way of interacting with a huge minion behind a taunt, apart from the combination of two removals, right? And that's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Like, it's not happening often. I don't know if I would have done that myself, if I would have been playing and just put the Fandral out there on turn 4, because it feels like you have such a huge edge if you just Jade Idler once with Fandral, an example, like during the game. But at the same time, he will reap the benefits like in an insane way if he will just drop the Fandral onto turn 4 and just get the Nourish on turn 4. It's insane.
it was certainly risky, but you're absolutely right. Like, if this pays off, this is like almost a game-winning play here. The Nourish that draws you and gains you mana, which means, like you said, he can even squeeze in Innovate and Jade Spirit this turn. That is a lot for AKAWonder to have to deal with this next turn.
There's a Wrath, which is not really important, second swipe, and an Acid Drake. Sure, not bad. At least you are not drawing them one by one in the next turns, because they basically are not that impactful in the game. But now dropping the Jade Spirit builds huge board.
Yeah, AKAWonder picking up the Jade Blossom a little bit late. Looks like he's going to play it just for the ramp and for the Jade
It was
Golem.
mana effective, right?
Yeah.
You use 6 mana. Well, that's good. And now let's see Strifecro turn. He has 8 mana available, and that means he can go for... Oh, well, that is possible as well. And that gives your opponent another target to deal with.
That's true. That's true.
Because if you just drop Gazetan and the opponent doesn't kill it, then you draw your entire deck basically
Yeah,
next
well,
turn.
that's something that Bran and Fangio and Gadgetzan all have in common.
Yeah.
They're cards that if they're not dealt with straight away can just single-handedly win the game. And we can see this time AKAWonder does have a way of dealing with it, but it does mean playing Druid of the Claw and charging it, which doesn't seem like the most efficient play. There's still this Jade Spirit and Jade Golem staring you down in the face, and nothing you can do about them. You just play a Jade Golem of your own and hope for the best.
Yeah, your Jade Golem is bigger than your opponent's, but at the same time it's still in range of Swipe, it's still in range of a Feral Rage, and you are at 20, while there's 5 attack sitting on board already, so that's not really that convenient.
Right.
Let's see if there will be another swipe. Sorry, another ref. No, but it's swipe this time. 2 damage to the face. Another pressure card basically puts down AKAWonder to 13, and that is not a comfortable spot. But there comes Engine of War.
That is a comfortable card to have.
Yeah, puts his foot on the board and says, "No, the passage is closed. You can't go through."
Swipe is still 5 damage. Feral Rage could actually deal the rest of the
Yeah,
damage.
and you can take 5 damage to the face with ease.
Yeah, exactly. And Wrath is another
Wow.
card. that
Well,
deals
Wrath
damage,
is
so
not 4 damage as well.
after all of that, Strifecro is able to deal with this Ancient of War without even thinking about trading one of his minions away.
But he would like to play Aya this turn.
Right.
So if you play Aya, you have 4 mana left. That means you can play Swipe, which is 5 damage. You can sacrifice Feral Spirit and the Jade Golem, and then go through for 4 damage, and you still developed a 5/3 and a 4/4, and the 5/3, even if dies, creates a 5/5.
Right.
So basically, you're always ahead. And I feel like in this pace of game, that should be the correct play.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Druids, is that they don't really have a way of coming back on the board or clearing the
No
board.
more York.
There's no Yogs nowadays in these Jade Druid decks. It's only a matter of time before Yogg makes a return.
You think so?
I don't know, possibly. I never count Yogg out, not until it actually gets rotated out of the format.
That will take a while.
We've got another year and a half of its tyranny yet, almost.
Alright, so even if you draw a Swipe, it doesn't really help that much. Basically, a Wrath does the same. Oh, and look at that, there's a Wrath.
Yeah, okay, so Wrath isn't the worst. The problem is, one of the problems with Aya is that it's a strong Death Rattle minion, so even if there was a way to clear the whole board, we're talking 5/5 Jade Golems now, and that's still a problem. So Wrath, I assume, is just going to instantly hit the Azure Drake. The question is, what does he do with the rest of the turn?
No, you don't have any option. You just die.
Right.
You need to draw here, and it needs to be. In the perfect scenario, it would have been a swipe.
Yeah.
So you can innervate swipe, kill 2 minions, and kind of on the mercy of the second druid not having any finishing move.
Right.
You know.
This is just lethal from Strifecro now with the Feral Rage in his hand.
Yep. He drew. Actually, it's kind of peculiar that Jade Blossom doesn't give you excess mana, right?
Yeah, I guess it's because it gives you a minion. I think the thing they said about it a while back is that cards that give you something else don't give you excess mana. There was an example. Was it My Keeper? Like, because you get the minion with the My Keeper, you don't get the mana, I think. I don't know.
I mean, it would have been kind of weird if you get an excess mana from a minion, because I can understand. I can understand when a spell doesn't give you that excess mana, but it gives you another spell instead.
Oh, and Nourish as well. That doesn't give you excess mana if you tried to ramp with it for some reason.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. All right, it's rogue time, and it's actually a pirate rogue. So an aggressive rogue. I tried this deck on ladder, to be honest, after reading that in China someone went 27-1 with the deck, and my initial impression was this deck is horrible.
Right.
I mean, I really didn't understand how it can go even 10-0 on ladder, you know, because it's so easily exploitable.
Yeah, see, I remember you saying that earlier, and AKAWonder then said to me, actually, I do think it's good. I just don't want to I don't want to argue right now. I just want to wait and then play it.
Okay.
So he clearly disagrees, or he wouldn't be bringing it today.
For sure. I mean, you know, maybe China has different metagame, but it just feels in testing that this is like the ultimate all-in deck.
Yeah.
Because it relies also so much on synergy. Cold Blood is one of the cards that can actually sit awkwardly for an entire game.
Yep.
That's a problem.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's pretty interesting, by the way, that Strifecro actually queued his Druid into the mirror and then actually won the mirror match. That's pretty bad for AKAWonder. You never want to lose a mirror match in last hero standing. But he's now, having queued in this rogue, obviously believes that this is favored anyway.
Yeah, and an interesting fact for Strifecro is now that he has no clue what he's facing. Like, zero idea. He didn't see a pirate on turn 1.
Right.
He did see a weapon on turn 2. That means that he has just no idea what he's facing.
No, I think now he does.
Because if he knew that he's facing an aggro deck, he would have probably innervated out the Pharaoh's, the Jade Spirit. Pharaoh Spirit. Everything is Spirit. So he would have played the Jade Spirit into another Jade Spirit in the upcoming turn, right?
Yeah.
But in this situation, he just went for the Wild Growth because he wasn't aware that it's actually an aggro deck.
Right. But now he knows he did. He played the Jade Spirit as soon as he possibly could. But this is a pretty clean board clear from AKAWonder there. Backstab into SI7 Agent, clearing up the Spirit with his weapon. He could cold blood the Patches. He's going.
Definitely would go for it, because the only good answer is a wrap or a swipe, and if your opponent doesn't have that, basically the Patches will deal 10 damage.
Right.
With the Cold Blood.
I guess the only other thing that he could have considered was holding on to Cold Blood for the Argent Horse Rider.
Ooh,
swipe.
Look at that.
If he didn't have a swipe, but now he does.
Yeah, and it has to be played right. It's just too much damage. Basically heal for 8 if you use the swipe.
Right.
Even more, because you still need to deal with those minions. So, I can see definitely the swipe this turn.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a shame for Strifecro, because after the swipe he doesn't have anything, and leaves AKAWonder once again free to just develop onto the board. Look at that, a 2-drop gets picked up, so you can just put down this Horse Rider, throw down under City Valley, and deal damage here.
Oh my god, a better Elven Archer. Oh my god, so much buff, right? It's +2 attack and +1 HP for 1 mana.
Right.
Insane, but it requires a combo.
I never thought that we'd see this card played competitively instead of SI7 Agent, but I guess this deck needs to run both.
I mean, it's pretty decent against other aggro decks.
Yeah, right.
You know?
It's great against pirate decks.
Yeah.
Deals 1 damage, which is the magic number, essentially. Strifecro does have Ancient of War to play next turn, though. So
the sap, though, is really good.
Sap, yeah.
Another backstab, which is helpful here because of the fact you can use the hero power to clean up a 3 HP minion, but that leaves your Leroy Jenkins kind of in a bad position because you can't play it then. So I guess this is the turn when you just jam Leroy and hope for the best.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I mean, how else do you want to win?
No, that's a good point. I guess the alternative is do, as you mentioned before, and as AKAWonder says here, play the weapon, maybe backstab a 3-3 and hit it, knowing that you can sap whatever taunt comes down next. On turn 7, if Druid had a 7-mana taunt to play and you could just sap it, then that's when he plays Leroy next turn. The problem for him is actually this Feral Rage, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of health. And okay, he's thinking about the backstab. I mean, if you commit to the dagger, I feel like you need to use the backstab and kill 1 minion. But why are you not killing the?
Yeah, why the weaker one?
Oh, he just saps this. That is just crazy. Okay, because it made sense if he goes for the backstab and dagger this turn just to play around an Engine of War, and that would have been really good. But in this case, I can't believe that actually happened.
Oh my goodness! Now Ancient of War is such a punish. Then again, do you think Strifecro ever thinks
the second sap? No, I feel like even if there's a second sap, you only get 6 damage this turn.
Yeah.
And that means your opponent would have to top deck a Leroy Jenkins alongside it. So I would definitely slam the Engine of War after seeing sap being played so recklessly, you know?
Oh man, what an unfortunate. There we go.
And there we go. If you would have kept the sap.
I guess AKAWonder was going with the line of thought that if he has taunts, then I lose anyway. I guess that's what he was going with. And unfortunately, there was a pretty big taunt there. And the thing is, there are a lot of taunts in Strifecro's deck. Like we know there's the Jade Behemoth, for example. I think we saw Druid of the Claw. That may have been on AKAWonder's side. But
that was AKAWonder's side, but I'm guessing that that Druid of the Claw might be also in the Strifecro's deck, because it feels like a decent minion in that deck, because your curve is basically 2 Acid Rakes and a Druid of the Claw.
Yeah.
There are no other 5-drop Suit Drape you play in this deck, basically. So it feels like it fits the deck, you know?
Right.
But in general, yeah, I don't want to say I told you, but yeah, that rogue, man.
No, you can say it. It's absolutely fine. It's not me that will get upset. It's AKAWonder.
Yeah. I mean, if he would, to be honest, if he would have kept the sap, that would be pretty insane move, like a good prediction, and he would have maybe actually won that game.
Yeah.
Because he buys basically he buys a turn.
Yeah.
He does a time walk. His opponent skips 7 mana for you paying 2 mana on a card, which is insane. And then if you drop another what's his name? Another Engine of War.
Right.
Then it's still your Jenkins on board.
Yeah.
And if you trade with 1 minion with the 3/2 into the one of the 1/1s, or with the 2/1 into the 1/1, then Leo Jenkins still is alive, right?
Yeah.
So it maybe was winnable at that time, but now that's an interesting matchup, because most people that I talk with, they feel like the Druid is favored.
Okay.
Well, I disagree. I think actually a proper handlock is favored against in this matchup.
Alright.
So it's a taunt. It's like asking a rogue player, is he favored in the matchup? Because he always says...
They always say yeah, of
yeah,
course.
rogue is always favored, man. Unless it was a Doomhammer Shaman, but in general there was a rule of thumb that they were saying they're always favored against everything.
Well, it's pretty interesting that Strifecro didn't actually ban AKAWonder's Warlock, because from a lot of the players today have just straight up banned Warlock every time. Strifecro, I believe... Yeah, Strifecro actually banned AKAWonder's Priest, which is a little bit different, and it's funny to think that we're in an era where Priest gets banned nowadays. Based on the start of this game, though, Strifecro has managed to ramp up a lot already. He's on 5 mana, he can play Nourish, he can play Azure Drake. Problem is, I think he's guaranteed to be giving AKAWonder at least a couple of imps from this Imp Gang boss.
The imps might not be a problem yet.
Right.
But I feel like if you want to play this game on curve, like Azure Drake needs to come down. Well, if it comes down, then if your opponent has a Twilight Drake, it kind of puts it in a weird spot, because Twilight Drake has full attack, it kills the Azure Drake, but at the same time, the Azure Drake, when do you play it? I feel like you don't play the Azure Drake for a synergy with spell damage in this matchup, actually. So, by the way, there is a Foul Nose.
Right. Okay.
And that's something that I don't usually see in those druids.
You're right. A little bit of old school druid flavor, I guess.
I guess that's it's attack against nerves.
The thing is, if you run Living Roots and Wrath and Swipe, then I guess Spell Power is always going to be good for you. The card you're not running that old school druids would take advantage of is Moonfire.
Yeah.
But I guess Strifecro decided even without Moonfire, the extra spark damage card's worth it, and it's also a cycle. So
Well, maybe he's actually playing Moonfire as well. Who knows?
possible. It's possible.
Okay, so one Jade Golem was played. He can go for Aya right now, which buys you a 2-2 and a 3-3 out of the Death Rattle. But the problem is, the board is already in favor for AKAWonder. And it doesn't really matter how much damage deal to the face of the Warlock right now, because unless he's dead, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
There's a reset button for the Warlocks. It's called Reno Jackson, and
You may have heard of it.
yeah, he has a motto. He says that we're gonna be rich, and that means that you just lost the entire progress that you did during the
Yeah.
game if you don't have board control. And it seems that the Druid will have insane problems to get the board control back. So even if you use the swipe this turn, you don't have a good way of dealing with everything, right?
Yeah.
Unless you play Fallow Swipe. Fallow Swipe wouldn't actually be that bad.
No, sure, but I agree that the way you beat the Reno Lock is not by bursting him down early. It's by getting these Jade Golems as big as possible. Strifecro is going to need to use all of the card draw he can possibly get. He needs this Nourish, you know, another Drake, as much as he can to get through this deck and get these Jade Golems as large as he can possibly
Yeah.
get them.
If they can be big enough to sustain a potential Shadow Flame,
Yeah.
then that's the point when we probably win. But at the same time, it's also, you can't really, that's the thing, you can't really assume properly what's gonna happen because of the fact that the Warlock can be built so differently, you know? There might be a Shadow Flame, of course, with Sylvanas, that's one thing. But the other thing, what can happen is a PO, it can be a Leroy Jenkins, it can be a Faceless Manipulator. If you faceless faceless and a huge Jade Golem, that means that you can Shadow Flame it for the exact attack that it had, and that means that the entire board will get cleared. So it's a tough game to predict. It's like that. In this case, I really like this play by AKAWonder because he's going wide on board, and that is a problem for Druid in general. The thing is, there's the Falnos and Swipe waiting for him now.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely deals a lot of damage, and you said earlier that Thanos isn't necessarily a card you expect to see in Druid nowadays. Well, I'm guessing AKAWonder didn't expect this, and therefore it led to a really nice punish from Strifecro. Aya is still fully intact with her awkward Death Rattle still standing.
Okay, so now what they do actually with the Aya? If you trade, you create a 3-3. Not the ideal scenario, and at the same time, if you deal just 5 damage to the face, your opponent's still at 16, and your hand doesn't say, yeah, let's win the game in the next 3 turns, right? So,
It's an interesting decision because part of you is probably thinking, do you need to trade, or do you just let the Warlock do that? He decided to trade. I guess it's just safer.
and you get the Death Rattle effect, like, right now.
Yeah. Problem is now, if he wants to, AKAWonder can clear this board. The problem for him is this board even worth a Demon Fire? Is it worth a Hellfire? Probably not.
Might be not. That's true. That's probably not. I mean, it's a 3-3 and a Thanos, and can kill the Thanos with the 1-1. You can even Mortal Coil it.
Yeah.
Okay, Demon Rev, I can see that being relevant because, yeah, actually that makes sense because then, what are the other Jade Golems? They're basically 4/4, right?
Yeah.
The next ones.
Yep,
So that's not affecting that much of the game. I mean, sorry, the Demon Rev doesn't really affect it that much.
It's funny because Reno Lock is usually the late game control deck, but against the Druid it sort of is. It needs to get so far into the game, but then the Reno Lock can't just sit around and wait because the Jade Golems get too big. So at some point soon, AKAWonder's going to have to switch his strategy and start to be bursting Strifecro down, because otherwise he will just be overrun eventually. It's inevitable.
That's true. He has the Enforcer, which helps a lot when
Yep.
regaining board control, especially from cards like Jade Spirit, an example, because you have access to the one imp, which can trade into a Jade Golem, which will be a 4/4, and it dies to the effect from the Enforcer. But at the same time, you would like to get the Mountain Giant. You would like to get, let's see what else. Actually, Mountain Giant and Jaraxxus maybe. But Jaraxxus, you can only play Jaraxxus when your opponent doesn't have board control at all.
Yeah.
And that is not the situation right now.
The question is that ever going to be the situation? For all AKAWonder knows, Strifecro could potentially play a Jade Golem every single turn for the rest of the game.
Yep, and they're getting bigger and bigger. 5-5 is the current one, but they will not stop growing. And
yeah, there's
it's
a Jade
headache.
Spirit in the hand. There's a Nourish in the hand to draw some Jade Idols to play those.
Yep.
It's definitely not a good position for AKAWonder now, unless he can somehow keep finding ways of clearing them. Like right now, there's no easy board clear here. Hellfire and Trade still doesn't deal with the 5-5.
Or with the 4-4, because
You probably want to trade with Brand.
yeah,
so
exactly. You need to kill the brand. Imagine any other battle cry Jade Golems.
Right.
That's like recipe for disaster.
Wondering if the Abyssal Enforcer isn't better. He's going to go with the Mixture Switch.
I'm really surprised that he didn't go for the Enforcer, to be honest, you know? Because this is like, kind of like fighting fires right now, but at the same time, if you play the Enforcer, it dies to the board, to the 5-2 and the 4-1, so maybe it's just better to develop small minions that can do the same.
Yeah, right, and he's taunted up the Mistress of Mixtures, so in theory, at least Strifecro needs to trade once.
And he also sets up for the Enforcer in the next turn, right? So that's something.
We've got two Wraths here, both can be played this turn with Fandral.
But he would really like to get a Jade Idol right now. Jade Idol would have been insane. Let's see what he does. No, but it's a Blossom which you can't use right now, so I guess you can go for the second one then.
Okay. You're not going to be able to play the Jade Idol this turn if you draw it, but at least it clears the board and allows you to develop 9 more damage to the face. And as we can see, AKAWonder still does not have Reno Jackson.
Reno Jackson be at 11 HP, and he's staring at 12 this turn.
Bran, Power Overwhelming Shadow Flame is the only way of clearing the entire board.
But then you just lose
Yeah.
a way of clearing the board in the long-term plan.
Right.
And that means you rely only on Twisting Nether, if he even plays it.
Yeah, we've seen very little Twisting Nether, I think, in these Reno lock decks, which is quite interesting.
I'm a big fan of the Twisting Nether, to be honest. Yeah, it's insane. Like it gets a win ratio in mirror matches really high because of the fact that you can just reset the board like that. You know, against Jade Golems, it's insane as well, right? So. I think it has place in the Reno Warlocks. I guess you kind of heal for 8%. No, he goes for the clear, and this will cost him dearly. Wow, that is just so sad.
Yeah, that's well played. Wait, is that just lethal? No, it's not. Okay, the well played was just at the fact.
No,
oh no, it is.
No, it is. It's swipe and double Pharaoh Rage to get one over lethal. So Strifecro takes it 3-1. 2 games on the back of a Jade Druid.